You should be the one doing this lecture anyway. Hold on. Give me a second, guys. You should be the one doing this lecture anyway. Okay, y'all hear that? Y'all see it on, do y'all see it live on YouTube? That stream? Okay. Shoot. Okay, TikTok, I'm gonna log back on. I don't know. Let me log off. I'll log back on with them too. Dremali. Okay. You're live on TikTok. I mean on okay. Let me. Okay. If you want to start, just go ahead and start. Just go ahead and start, and I'll start sharing you to everybody. They'll be able to hear you. Turn your camera on. I'll just share you to everybody.
Okay.
Everything's on.
Okay.
Can you hear us good?
يلا إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره.
You're perfect.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sisters, brothers, and the followers, and everybody watching. Very important topic. Actually, yesterday and Salat al-Dhuhr, and today we discuss with Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, first.
Assalamu alaikum.
Brothers and sisters, the topic yesterday with the brother Muhammad and even Imad, and today we discuss whether is a serious problem in Islamic school. And of course, maybe in non-Muslim.
Yeah, in the public schools, non-Muslim schools.
Assalamu
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yeah, it's a big problem in all the schools, but I just think that now it's been a problem in the non-Islamic schools, non-Muslim schools for a while, but now I'm starting to see the trend happening more with us.
The problem is, brother and sister, yesterday, our kids in Islamic school and public school, they're killing themselves.
Yeah,
Suicide, they killing themselves.
Suicide, depression, anxiety. I mean,
but it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's scary. It's very scary. We're at a time right now where our kids are so lost and confused that we're seeing it happen. You and I, like, it's funny. We came in and started talking about the same situations in the same days between us, and we're talking about 15 days in school so far, right?
Just brother Muhammad, my phone's off. Let me turn it off. Brother Muhammad, the problem now, it's serious problem in why is me and the Imam. A lot of parents refuse for the Imam to speak about it in the member.
Well, you say the parents, I say the board members, the community members, they're afraid that if you talk about it, it's going to happen. But they don't realize it's already happening.
It happened for years.
And I used to have the same problem when I went to go to the masjids to talk about drugs and alcohol and marijuana, substance abuse, mental health. All the masjids, no, we don't want to hear about this. They always would push me out because they didn't want to talk about it because they were afraid that if you talk about it, it would give the kids ideas.
It happened to their own selves.
And it's happening to their own selves. So now they say, oh my gosh, we see this happening. And now it's not just me, it's not just you. The schools, the Islamic schools are seeing it, the principals, the teachers, they're seeing these things happening in their own classrooms. Now they want to talk about it.
Yeah, but Brother Muhammad, actually, I believe, with all my respect to the school here, the problem is the parents.
We always blame the parents for a lot of the stuff, and in order to, and sometimes, most of the time, it is. I will say, some of the parents, I'll tell them, how are you raising your kids? How are you talking to your children? What are you and the husband on the same page with when it comes to education? When it comes to making sure the kids go to school, when it comes to making sure that you talk to your kids about what's happening in school, are you both participating in the conversation with your kids? Right. We like, just for example, like this last issue that we just went through. One parent is talking to the kid, the other parent is leaving the house. He doesn't want to deal with it. And I had to explain to them, no, you both have to be on the same page with your kid, because if you're not, the kid's gonna find a way out. And the other parent's gonna get too tired, they're not gonna want to deal with it. Right? The patience, from the other parent is gonna go away, and the other parent doesn't see anything because the parent's not home. So I think the biggest issue that we have to kind of remind ourselves is we need both parents to be on the same page when it comes to our children and our youth. And the good thing I think about Islamic school is we have, at least here, we make our Islamic schools like a family, right?
Yeah.
We try to, find help in any of the members of the community. So then I get the call, hey, can you come into the school and talk to the student? Can you come into that school and talk to this student? Can you go to these people's houses and talk to the parents? Because I can do the stuff that the teachers and the principals can't, right? I can go to the homes. I can see what's going on in the house. And so when you see what's happening, you kind of see, okay, now I see why the kid is the way the kid is doing what they're doing, why the kid is depressed, why the kid is having anxiety, why the kid doesn't feel that there's any love coming from them. So you have to also remind the parents, okay, you just, remember.
Remind the
Yeah,
parents?
you have to remind the parents, hey, just remember, you do have a kid. You have 2 kids, you have 3 kids. Maybe one kid is an all-star, and you're praising that kid and praising
Hold on, something serious, bro. You said remind the parents.
of their kid
No, but honestly, with all my respect, we have to teach the parents.
how to be parents.
Allahu Akbar.
I don't know.
To teach the parents how to be a parent.
Yeah.
Brother and sister, you are listen carefully about this topic. It's a serious problem. Me as an imam, when the parents say, no, Sheikh Ibrahim, don't speak about this. Don't speak. That means is that we have to teach the parents how to be a parent.
And how to talk about the stuff that they don't want to talk about.
Yeah. But it's happening.
But it's happening, and we need to talk about these
Yesterday
things.
happened.
Yeah, and
I
today.
spoke to Dr. Imad Abid, and now we, as a ear specialist, actually, I want to learn.
Yeah.
But how?
But that's the thing is, you want to learn, right? You want to.
Yeah, as a parent.
Yeah, as a parent,
As some parents.
ma'am, some parents.
Hold on, brother. Some parents refuse.
They
Some
refuse to
parents
learn.
refuse. No, impossible.
Yeah.
It's happened to their own parents,
And I think
their kids.
I think one of the biggest obstacles that I see, that I feel all the time, is when the parents don't want to hear what their kids are going through.
Oh.
Right? When I'm sitting there and I'm telling you what your kid is going through, what I see. I talked to this kid for 20 minutes. Okay, maybe today 20 minutes, maybe even less than 20 minutes. All right. And I picked up on so many things in those less than 20 minutes that when I called the parent, I said, let me ask you these questions. And the mom, well, how do you know? Well, she told you. Why did she tell you about her dad? Why did she tell? No, she didn't tell me anything. She barely spoke a word. I'm asking questions. I'm talking. I'm the one asking the questions, and she's giving me quick answers. But with those answers, I can pick up what's happening in the house. And every question I asked the parent, I was on point. And the parent never told me any of these things that I was telling the parent. I know your husband is this. I know you do this. I know does your husband talk to the kids at all? Does your No, he runs away. Yeah, I figured. He leaves right before she goes to school. Yes, he goes to fetch. Like she's telling me all these things after I'm explaining to her what I know from the less than 20 minutes that I spoke with this little girl.
Great mind think alike.
And so when you try to push and explain, I think what I was going to talk about today was self-reflecting, right? When we go to the homes and we talk to the parents about what we see as professionals, how to take what we're saying and look into yourself and see, maybe Brother Muhammad is right, maybe Sheikh Dremali is correct, and analyze your own self, because we Muslims, we have a hard time doing that, right? I mean, especially for Arab.
No, we feel shy to speak about it.
Well, we're shy, but we don't also want to hear what's wrong with us.
Me as an imam,
Mm-hmm.
as an imam, I feel the parents feeling shy to speak about this topic.
They're shy and they're afraid.
Afraid
because
you think so?
Yeah, because we have a habit of thinking that if we talk about it, it will happen. We don't realize that it's already happening.
Brother, you have sorry, brother.
No,
you have to speak now.
Mhm.
You open. I know you are better than me regarding this.
No,
me, my Sheikh Ibrahim, you can do, but you open your heart. Brothers and sisters, we have to speak, and I agree with Dr. Muhammad.
We have to have a sit down and talk about the stuff that we don't want to talk about. Right? I know we don't like to talk about depression. I know we don't like to talk about anxiety. I know we don't like to talk about suicide. We don't like to talk about these topics because it's such a haram topic, right? If you kill yourself, you're going to hellfire, right? That's it. Because you talk to an imam, I want to kill myself. What's the imam going to tell you? The imam's going to tell you, if you do that, you go to hellfire. Okay, but why is this person talking about these things? What gets a person to that level of I want to kill myself. I don't like life anymore, or I'm depressed, or what gets that person to that level, right? And now you're talking about a different generation of kids where they're comparing themselves, they're seeing their friends, they're seeing social media, they're seeing so much stuff, and they're comparing themselves, and
Yeah,
they're
but me as an imam, I can't do anything.
well, you can't really talk too much about it unless you know how to talk about it, right? You have to know how to address the situation, and each case is different,
Oh,
right? You can't just think it's a one size fits all conversation.
hold on. You just bring a very serious problem here.
Mhm.
A problem.
I brought a problem.
Not you, because I obviously I see that.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I see many parents, and of course, it's not only Muslims.
Mhm.
You see that in church, you see that in synagogues,
Yeah, yeah, everywhere, everywhere.
that being everywhere. But us as Muslims, we are responsible. Number one, agree and admit the problem. We have to really, yes, it's happened in our community.
You have to.
Yes,
That's
as a
that's like the first step, right? Admitting that there's a problem.
admit it.
Yeah, we have to acknowledge that something is that this is happening. No matter whether it's just suicide or it's depression, or if it's this, or we have to acknowledge whether it's suicide, whether it's depression, whether it's substance abuse, whether my kid is using drugs. We have to admit
Admit.
that in our communities it's happening. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's not happening. I'm not gonna say, oh, we Muslims are perfect. No, we
We're
are.
not perfect.
Our kids are a mess, right? The majority of our children
The majority?
that are going through a lot.
Hold on. You say majority.
Yeah, the majority of the students, they're going through a lot. And we Muslims have the problem of comparing, right? Comparing
Yeah.
our kids to another kids, comparing our kids to what we see on social media, or comparing our kid, stuff. I feel bad because we do a lot of talk about social media, but social media plays a big role in the anxiety, in the depression, in the suicide, right? You have these little girls who will sit for 3 4 hours watching 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds who look like they're millionaires. And why do I have this? Why don't I have that? Why
Oh
don't
my God, brother Muhammad.
Yeah.
It's happening. Yeah, actually, it's happened to me.
Yeah.
Actually, the parents telling me, what do you think? Well, but do we have a solution with this?
We've said this, I've said this a lot of times on here,
Yes.
right? And I always say, parents
It's
always
bad.
parents always tell me, you want me to take the phone away from my kids. You want me to get my kids away from social media. If they don't see it with me, they're gonna see it with somebody else. The big
Ya
Please do me a
Allah.
favor. Don't be that parent that says, I'd rather my kids do drugs with me than do drugs outside the community. I've heard that so many times. I've heard it. I've flipped out on dads who told me that stuff. I just don't understand the concept of I'd rather my kids do it at home than do it outside with their friends. Your kid is not supposed to do it at all. You're supposed to talk to your child about these issues, about these things. If you can't talk to your child about these things, find somebody who can. Right? I'm pretty sure every community might have a Sheikh Dremali or Brother Muhammad somewhere where they can.
But hold on, the parents deny that it's happening to their own selves.
They deny my kid's not depressed, my kid's not doing anything wrong, it's just marijuana. Like I've heard all these.
It's just marijuana.
It's just marijuana. I've heard all these little excuses, all these denials, all these, minimizing. It's called minimizing, right? You minimize, oh, not my kid, he's just sad, or well, sister, he's been sad for 2 years now. There's a problem here.
But you say kids, yesterday adults.
Yeah.
Kids, adults.
Yeah. It's sad, right? And you're talking about the
Actually,
20s.
me as an imam, it's very sad.
20s, 20, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds. When they talk about, oh, I don't want to get married. Oh, I don't want to move out of my parents' house. I want to just stay in my room and play video games all day. Like,
Yep.
It's easier, right? It's easier not to deal with life if you're just sitting in your room playing video games. And as a parent, and I always say this, it's a case by case basis, right? I'm not gonna say everybody's different. You know your kids, you know how much you can do, you know what you can do. But one of the things I actually told one of the parents was, if this was my kid and that my kid was refusing to go to school, why would my 11-year-old have a phone? Why would my 11-year-old have toys? Why would my 11-year-old have video games? Right? Those things are rewards. Right? A phone, video games, even toys. Those are all rewards. You give that kid rewards. You don't just give a kid a phone when they don't go to school. What are you telling that child?
Because actually the kids now refuse to go to school.
They refuse to go to school, and this kid refusing to go to school. And if you, as a parent, are saying to me, I don't know what to do. My kid's refusing to go to school and they're not listening to me. But then I look at your kid and she's sitting there on the phone watching social media. What are you rewarding? Because for me, a phone, video games, these are reward systems, right? If you do good
Reward
in
system.
school, I'm gonna give you a phone. If you do get straight A's, I'll buy you a car. If you do great stuff, I will get you this, right? That's how we work. That's how life is. If you go to work, you get a paycheck. It's a reward system. Yes or no? That's how life works. But if you're telling me my kid's not going to school, but I'm going to give her a brand new iPhone, well, then
What?
then what's the
Yeah.
what's the punishment for not going to school? I'm going to keep my kid in her room. Okay, but she's playing on her video game. She's playing on her phone. She's playing with her toys. Where is the punishment? Right. So again, now that's why I said at the beginning, where we have to like reteach the parents how to be parents.
Brother, concentrate about this topic,
Yeah.
please.
It's
You know, do you think now we see this? You see this,
Yeah.
I see this. But a lot of parents do they are blind.
they're blind. They don't want to see it, and they want to blame everybody else. They want to blame the school. They want to blame the teachers. They want to blame, the friends. They want to blame. Yeah, but you're the parent. As a parent, we have total control over our children up until a certain age, right? We have total control. And I went to the classroom, and I was asking how many kids here have a cell phone, right? Out of the 15 kids.
Actually, everybody.
No, SubhanAllah, I was surprised. There were 6 kids without a cell phone.
What?
Yeah, 6 of the kids. Out of the 15 kids, 6 kids don't have a cell phone. And I said, ask those 6 kids, why don't you have a cell phone? Oh, my mom said I have to wait until I get to the 8th grade. Oh, my mom said,
Some,
Yeah.
but
So I
not
said-
everybody.
and then, but you notice the difference between those 6 kids and the other kids. You notice the personality. You notice the genuinity. You notice the intelligence. You notice the I don't care attitude of like having to compete with each other and all that, comparing themselves. You notice the difference with those kids that don't have a phone and the kids that do have a phone, right? I'm not doing a statistical study or anything like this, but I'm just telling what I see when I see the kids without a cell phone to the kids that have a phone. You see a big difference of the way they approach themselves, of the way they feel about themselves, a way that they carry themselves, right? I noticed these things, and it's such a scary feeling to see. And I pointed out to somebody that was next to me. I said, look at those 6 kids that don't have a cell phone. Look how they smile in. They're talking back and forth. They're having a conversation with me. They know how to have a full conversation. Their handwriting is better. Like you see these things from these kids, and I said, SubhanAllah, man, look at the difference.
But you think, Brother Muhammad, can we fix it? You think?
I think in this type of
Can we?
issues, these kinds of issues, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to depression, when it comes to suicide, I think it takes more than just parenting. I think it takes a community.
Community.
You need help. We need help. Listen, we do. We need help. We need help from the professionals who've known how to deal with this kind of stuff.
But you are a professional, right? I know that. I admit that.
Mhm.
But me as imam, I'm not.
But you can learn, right?
Absolutely.
Through
I want to learn.
Yeah, through our experiences, we can learn.
But me as now as imam, but a lot of parents they're telling me, Brother Ibrahim, don't speak about it. Don't speak,
Yeah.
even mention it.
I know I have the same problem in a lot of the messages where I tell them we need to talk about these things.
But do you think the problem with the parents or our kids?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? So when I talk to the community and explain to them how I present, how I talk about it, and I always, because one of the board members said, you always blame the parents. You always want to throw the parents under the bus. I said, no. Let me explain to you how I talk about depression, anxiety, suicide. I said, because these topics are so sensitive and so deep that you can't just blame the parents, right? And if you asked me 10 to 12 to 15 years ago, I would have said, maybe the parents more than anything else. But now we're talking about 15 years later, right? I've been in this business for over 20 something years, right? So I've seen before the social media, during the social media, and where we're at right now. I've seen it all. And I've always been, when I used to go to the courthouse in the front of the judges, I used to always kind of brag about the Muslims, right? We don't do that. We Muslims, we have our fear of Allah. We don't have to worry about that stuff. And I would always, say, look, us Muslims, I would never see a Muslim in the courtroom for years. Alhamdulillah, it was great, because I was always happy that, no Muslims coming in there, alhamdulillah. Now I'm starting to see these things happening, and I said, oh man,
Yeah,
look where we're at.
embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, it's nerve-wracking, and it's needs to be talked about. And I think that these masjids, as much as they want to lock up that conversation, it needs to happen. We need to have these conversations, and you need to have the right people
Right,
talking about
right
these.
people.
Because see, the thing is, when I go to parents and I tell them, I think you might benefit from, mental health counseling or some type of psychiatry or psychologist or something to talk to. I always tell them, try to find a Muslim psychologist or a Muslim doctor, because that person is going to be able to relate to your child more than a non-Muslim, right? We don't want to just put pills on our children. We don't want to give medications. We want to get down to the root of everything. It took me 20 minutes or maybe an hour to figure out what was going on, when this started happening with this little girl, why everything started happening, like what the situation was and what caused this to happen. And I was able to tell the parents, okay, this is what happened. This is why it happened. This is how we can fix it, right? This is how you can try to slowly start to fix it, right? The dad can't go and the dad goes to Fajr and comes back home. The dad has to be more involved, and explain these things.
In fact, I'm honestly, I'm shocked.
Mhm.
Why? Because I'm Imam. And at the same time, we see this a lot.
Yeah.
Yani yesterday when the sister told me, I have 3 kids, 2 girls and 1 boy, have the same problem. Not only that, in Texas, in Miami, they kill the kids kill themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Kill them. But why, brother?
Again, you have to ask what's going on in that person's life.
But you think it's the parents' problem?
And of course, it's a parent's problem. It's a parent's problem. It's a community problem. So we think, it's just us, right? It's just the Muslims. It's not just the Muslims, right? I talk to so many people and where I go to and different places I go around, and you hear people conversing and talking from different religions and different faiths who say, like, I see what's happening around the world and they're blaming me, but I'm not even there, and I don't want this to happen, and how do I stop this? And I feel like I'm getting the blame for it, and I'm, and they're telling me these things because they hear my name Mohammed, so they want to, they feel like if they empty out their issues to me, they'll feel better about themselves. And I'll tell them, well, maybe what's the answer to help you? How can we help you? Right? What do you need to make you feel better about yourself? Because at the end of the day, if you're feeling like this, you're the only person, and the parents are the only people that can really get that information out of that child. And if you're a parent that can't get that kind of information out, you need to seek help.
Seek help.
You need to. You need to seek help. You need to seek help from a community member, from a person who has experience in this type of realm. I mean, it's sad.
Drink your tea because really because
it's a deep conversation.
Yes, deep. But honestly, when I see this in the community, I feel sad. Yes, but you, as a profession, do you think can we fix it? Really, open your heart, brother. Especially social media here, and many brothers and sisters. But at the same time, we deny we have a problem.
Yeah, I mean,
yesterday, oh no, my daughter, so and so, and the other daughter, and my son now, but it's a serious problem. Plus, they're taking medicine, marijuana, stuff, and drugs.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier for these kids to cover up what's going on, right? With drugs, with marijuana, with pills, or with social media. Because remember, this, when we talk about social media, this is also an addiction, right? It's also, they sit there for 2, 3, 4 hours watching social media and making themselves happy, making themselves. But so we have to first admit that we have a problem.
The mean disease
that we have to admit this, and I think that we're not going to solve any problems until we acknowledge that we have this problem in our community. You can't solve something that you can't admit to.
Yeah.
Right. That's the first step when we talk about drugs and mental health and substance abuse. Right. When I talk about with my old clients, what's step number 1? Admitting you got a problem. And that the messages have to do the same thing. Step number 1, admitting that there's a problem.
Yeah. So really, that I don't know what happened to me when
It's a deep conversation. You know, when you talk about stuff like this, it becomes very difficult, right? Nobody wants to admit that their kid is depressed. Nobody wants to admit that their kid is suicidal. Nobody wants to admit these things because then, as a parent, it makes you feel like you've done something wrong as a parent. And a lot of times, you know, you see these people who are going through these things that have no problems outside. Like it looks on the out, you're looking from the outside looking in. Mashallah, they have beautiful cars, beautiful houses, so much money. So you think, oh, you know, mashallah, they're doing good. They have no problems. But those are the people that have the problems. Those are the ones that have the most of the problems.
the, I honestly they think we don't have problem.
No, we have problems. We've had these problems for, I want to say the last 5 years. It's been growing. At least the last 5 years.
Allah.
It's been growing, and I've seen it, and I'm seeing it now. You're seeing it now, and I think a lot of times that we believe that, you know, if we don't look for it, if we don't talk about it, it's gonna go away.
In fact, Allah عز وجل يقول سورة التحريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة. Allah says, protect yourself or your family from the hellfire. Now as a parents, we really deny this problem, but the problem in the picture it become increased more and more and more, and we think no Christian and Jews and
No,
Buddhists
no,
and but also as a Muslim,
yeah, we have problems.
and Allah told us.
Yeah, and I think also, and let me just jump on this real quick while, you know, when you said this, it reminded me of something. Uh, you know, we have a problem where in our community where if we know that somebody's going through something like this, if we know, you know, Sheikh Dremali is depressed and he's suicidal, I'm gonna keep my kids away from him because
Yes.
I don't want him to brush off on my kids and teach my kids how to kill themselves or how to be depressed. When in fact you should say to your kids, hey, listen, brother Dremali is going through some stuff. Let's talk to him. Let's hang out with him. Let's you know, befriend him. Let's bring him up. Let's, you know, I even told my son, you know, he started public school this year. I said, listen, if you see a kid sitting by himself with no friends who looks sad, say hi to him. Just go with us and smile and say hi. You know, teaching my son how to, you know, Islamically speaking, you know, charity, smile, you get good
Yeah,
deeds.
yeah, it is.
It
yeah.
is, you know. So, you know, my son is very introverted kid. He doesn't like to talk to people. But I'm trying to explain to him, if you see somebody who looks sad or somebody sitting by themselves and you see that person every day sitting by themselves at lunch, just say, hey, how are you doing, man? You good? And then walk away. That little smile, that little hi can make a person change what they're feeling that day, right? A smile can
Yeah.
change somebody's behavior. And I think that's one of the things that us Muslim parents have a problem with. Stay away from him because I don't want my kid to become depressed like him. Well, if you've developed your kid to be a strong person, maybe your kid can actually help that kid become stronger by explaining to that kid, hey, what are you sad about? You sad about this? Don't be sad about that, man. That's all good. Let's go play some soccer. Let's go play. You know, you can really, a kid can really change another kid better than a parent can.
But brother, if we see this, it's become like obvious. In fact, there is they think no, we cannot do that. It's happening right now in Texas a lot, in Chicago, in Miami.
In here, yeah, it's happening. It's happening everywhere. And again, you know, the first step of everything is to admit that you got a problem. Once you can admit that, and once you kind of, if you can admit that, if you can open up your heart to understanding that your community is feeling this, then you start to seek outside help, right? You find yourself a good Muslim doctor, a Muslim, you know, all these organizations, mashallah, that are around here, all the Muslim organizations, all the Islamic organizations. I'm pretty sure they have a bunch of doctors on call that you can ask for some help, or you can, you know, seek some help and have them come to your masjid to talk, to open up that conversation, right? To have that organization.
But some people this is haram to speak about. Is haram to have a psychiatrist or psychiatrist, a doctor like this. Is some people this is haram.
I don't understand how
because it's Floyd and this and that, all this stuff.
Okay, I don't believe. I get all that. I've studied all that. I've studied Sigmund Freud and all these things. I do get all that. I understand all that, right? But at the end of the day, you know, if you don't know the root cause of the issues that our kids are going through, the root cause,
The root cause.
of what's causing these issues, then
The root cause.
you're not going to be able to fix it, right? So I don't go around saying, you know, when I do my counseling right there, this guy looks like I need to do the Rogerian theory, or I need to do this. No, I don't. That's not what you think of when you're doing these things. You're thinking of, how can we solve this issue, right? And I'm not going to do the Sigmund Freud theory on an 11-year-old. That, you know, you throw all that out the window and say, let me talk to that person. Let me see what's going on with that person. Let me see, when did this happen. Then I can talk to the parents and see what happened in the house. And then you can kind of gauge the issues and the situations, and then you can advise on how to fix this stuff. I don't think there's anything haram with that,
No,
right?
not haram.
I mean, you as a Islamic, doesn't it say somewhere in the Quran that you have to seek help for
Yeah.
the professionals?
Yeah, and Allah, sorry, yeah, and absolutely. Don't forget, the jinn bring in our mind, but we actually, Allah order us to seek refuge from the jinn.
Mhm.
And controlling the people, unfortunately, controlling their hearts. But not everybody understand the ayat of this Quran. Not everybody understand this.
Yeah.
Not even live. We memorize the Quran, but we don't apply the Quran. We don't even live with the Quran.
And you know what? Also, it's embarrassing,
Mhm.
right? It's very, very embarrassing to admit that your kid had a problem. It is,
Yeah, embarrassing, but they don't feel that.
And the thing is, if you don't, it's not embarrassing to ask for help, right?
No, no.
And if you think about it from a medical point of view, you have a stomach ache, you're gonna go see a doctor, right? You have a headache, you have constant pains, you're gonna go see a doctor. If your kid's going through and suffering through all this depression or anxiety, you should seek the help that kid might need, because at the end of the day, when you ask a kid questions and they don't talk, they're not saying anything to you. There's a reason, right? There's a deeper, and it's funny because
But the parents cannot. Sometimes the parents don't feel that. No. He's not even feeling my son have problem or my daughter have
yeah,
problem.
because maybe on the outside they look like they're not having any problems, or maybe that's just the way my kid is, right? My kid's just like that. That's how my kid is. Is he? When did he start? When did he stop talking?
Mm.
When? Oh, well, over the summer. Well, then what happened over the summer to make your kid stop talking? Because the good thing about when I go to these schools on a consistent yearly basis, I start knowing the kids, right? I start knowing the kids. I start knowing their personalities. I start knowing how they act, how they behave, and I can know when my son is playing with his friends in soccer, and I see one of his friends who is by himself. I know that kid, Almod, is very loud and talks a lot. Why is he quiet today? And so I'll know to go to him and say, hey man, what's going on? Why are you so quiet today? And then he'll start to talk to me about what's going on at home, or what he's going through at school. But I know those kids, right? So as a parent, you should know that all of a sudden my kid stopped talking. What's happened? My kid's refusing to go to school. They never refused to go to school. What happened? Right? As a parent, you should, instead of saying, "Oh, it's normal. No kids want to go to school." That's not true. Yeah, that's mostly true. No kids want to go to school. My kids don't want to go to school, but they get up, brush their teeth, wash their face, get dressed, and go to school. I don't want to go to work, but I still have to go and get dressed, change, and go to work.
Yeah.
So we still do the thing that we don't want to do. So as a parent, you have to ask yourself, why am I really having to force my kid to go to school? What's the underlying issue, right? And you can solve just about any issue that a kid has, right? If a kid says to me, I'm getting bullied. Okay, I'm gonna go to the school and see who's bullying you. Let's see how we can fix this.
But the kids actually feel shy to speak about it.
And
Because they are bullying.
yeah,
Yeah, because it never happened to me.
and here's the other problem, right? As parents, we don't have the patience to listen.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
One thing I noticed with a couple of kids I was dealing with their parents was they don't like the awkward silence that comes when you ask a question to the kid and the kid doesn't say anything. I like that, right?
Yeah,
I'll say what's going on, and then you'll have a good 1 minute, 2 minutes of no talking, right? No talking, and I'll just sit there and look at the kid, just looking and waiting, and that awkward silence. You think you don't like that? Me and you, we don't like that. Kid doesn't like awkward silence, because then that kid will say, "Okay, let me say something." And then little by little, you start seeing that awkward silence going away, because that kid knows there's going to be a minute or two where he's not going to say anything. And I tell the parents, just stop. ask the question and stop. Let the kid think about what he wants to say and speak. Because a lot of times they say, "Yellow, what's going?" You know, we start to yell at that kid, and that kid says, "Oh, nothing. Everything's good." Bullying. They just start coming up with these answers because they just wanted you to shut up and leave them alone.
Yeah.
So I always tell the parents to just give the kid some time to talk
Yeah.
and have both of you at the same time.
But the kid's afraid.
Kids are afraid.
Yeah. Because some people hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but actually they hit sometimes very okay, but they hit harsh.
Yeah, there's a limit to what you do when it comes to punishing your child. And I've spoken to a lot of dads who
But even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he have kids actually. Zayd ibn Harith, they grew up with him.
Mhm.
Anas ibn Malik, he grew up with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he never hit. Even they make mistake.
Mhm.
And Anas, once he lost, he went. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him money to go and get some cheese to eat.
Mhm.
And when he went to kid, he was on play, and Rasulullah worried about him, and he found him playing. But Rasulullah said, Anas, finish playing, and he lost the money. And he said, Anas, finish, and after you finish, come back home. But the key, us, of course, we're not following the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he's doing. We're not even following the Quran, the majority of us. You know, not everybody, of course, the majority of us. But may Allah guide our kids in the Quran. But the kids actually, we live now, even in Arab country, we imitating the people here.
Yeah, of the
Not
West.
the even here it's good also. Not everybody bad, you know, but some odd number, some different people. And the key, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so the good friends and the bad friends.
Mhm.
When you have a good company, alhamdulillah, you are in straight path.
Yeah, yeah.
And a lot of people see that, as you all the social media,
Yeah.
they want to follow those negative people.
100%.
Yeah, but
You know, I was in a school, and this is for everybody kind of here. I was in a public school, and we always talk about Islamic schools, Islamic schools. I was in a public school at a open house type situation, and one of the parents came with her kid, little girl, she's ninth grader, and she's yelling at her daughter. Why don't you make friends? Why don't you go
the
talk to
mom,
the mom, yelling at the daughter, and
in front of the people.
in front of every, I said, let me keep my mouth shut because it's none of my business. So they come and they see me. Oh, I'm just trying to make my daughter, join a club or do something. I need her to have friends. I want her to go to the football games and have friends to go to the football games. I said, ma'am, I don't agree with you. You're coming to me, and I don't agree with you. And the daughter, her eyes, lit up, started smiling. She went from sad and upset and angry to smiling. And she said, what do you mean? We need friends. I said, ma'am, do we really need friends? Are the friends going to pay her bills when she grows up? Are the friends going to take care of her, buy her a car, do the things with her?
A good one. Yeah.
And no, well, I don't want her to miss out on a high school experience. That's their excuse.
Yeah.
I said, ma'am, you're coming to the wrong person for this, because I tell my son, go to school, get your grades, play the game, get scholarships, and get out. I said, those steps, not one time did I say, go make friends.
Yeah.
I said, because none of those friends are going
Benefits him.
to benefit him in the future.
Yeah.
I said, when you get older and you go to college, you start to network with people, then you can,
Yeah, actually, go to college. You have no choice.
You have no
Even
choice.
University, I mean, the school also, you have no choice. You have to have school kids.
But you can separate yourself from people.
Starting.
You don't have to have friends, right? And the girl, I will tell you, that little girl, ninth grader, said, thank you. I've been trying to tell my mom, I just want to get my grades. I just want to go to school. I just want to finish what I got to finish and get out of here. I said, what more do you want? That's perfect.
But sometimes you and the parents give the same advice for the child. For example, you give advice for the child, and they said, and he follow you, and you go till brother Muhammad told me so and so and so, and the parents say, I told you this before.
I've heard that so many times.
The tone is
the tone is different. The genuinity is different.
Yeah, the tone is different.
The person saying it is saying, listen, I've had in the schools I go to, Islamic schools I go to, I have religious leaders, the religious teachers who would say, "Oh, I'm saying the same thing Brother Muhammad's saying, but you're getting mad at me for saying it." Well, the way Brother Muhammad's saying it is different than the way you're saying it. There, of course, there's always a way of talking of addressing these issues. That's why we have, you know, MSAs, different groups, right, for these kids to hang out with other peers, that they can hear what you've been saying forever. Just one person that they meet can say the same thing in a different tone, and the kid will understand and get it better.
But you are right, 100% agree with you. That the problem is the tone. The
100%.
problem is that for example, I grew up with 5 sisters and 2 brothers. We are 8. Imagine. My father, he never yelled. He's a sheikh, and he may be the old man also. So that he never yelled. That's why we have this kind of relationship with me and my sisters. But go to different house, you can even you can hear you hear their voice. For example, my neighbor, but they removed.
Yeah.
They have 3 kids. I am here reading my Quran, and subhanallah, I make it actually Quran when I read Quran loud. Door, my neighbor, louder.
SubhanAllah.
I knock the door. Please, I'm concentrated. I want to sleep. I cannot sleep.
Yeah.
It depends the voice.
The voice. And
I agree.
and I always tell the parents,
Yeah, brother Muhammad, please listen to this advice, very brother and sister who is social media. It's very important, actually, especially in household. Do not scream. And even we mentioned that in Surah Luqman, this is a very strong voice like a donkey. Allah said that in the Quran, Luqman.
if you're constantly yelling, right? If it's a constant thing
Yell,
where you're yelling and you're yelling,
your heart.
it loses its meaning. Right?
That's absolute. I agree with you.
It does. If you're constantly yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling, that to that kid, it becomes the way my mom talks. It's the way my mom talks. It's the normal.
Yeah,
it is. It is. I'm serious. Like that's what they kids
yeah.
Because I will say things, and the kids will in the schools will say, "Oh, my mom, she talks really loud." What do you mean she talks really loud? What does that mean? And then you hear the parents and you see, oh, she yells a lot. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why you think your mom talks loud, because she doesn't talk loud when she's in the community or out in the masjids, or she's very mashallah nice and calm. But at home, she talks loud. So when you are constantly doing that, it becomes it's just the way my mom talks. Khalas. We don't. So they start. It loses its oomph. It loses its meaning. You know, my kids don't do things. Don't do the wrong things because they're afraid I'm going to yell at them. They're afraid of getting disappointment. They don't want to disappoint their father. They don't want to disappoint their mother, right? So when you are having these conversations with your kids, don't think the louder you get, the more information you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. They become like a habit for the parents.
It becomes a habit, and they're not going to want to talk.
Yeah, that problem is affecting the kids when you do that. Become like a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but may Allah guide our parents and the parents and their kids.
Even when I'm talking to the students, and this is something I do, my way of doing things, right? And like I said, everybody's different. When I talk to the students, when I do one-on-ones, individual sessions with these kids, I'm very calm, low-key. I'm looking at them in the eyes, right? I stare at their eyes because I want them to know I'm listening, and I'm talking to them. I'm giving them the attention back and forth, right? Even when there's dead silence, when I'm asking the question and they don't listen, I just sit there and I look.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah, I like that.
And they, they're trying to avoid eye contact because it's very uncomfortable.
I do that. I do it with the kids. They will speak with me. Even parents with the problem, they'll get quiet, and they speak too much. I just keep quiet.
Yeah. And I wait, and then she starts talking, and I said to myself, I bet you this is the first time she's ever had the ability to talk.
Oh yeah.
Because she started
something in the heart more.
Yeah. Because she started
right.
little by little opening up, and then all of a sudden everything started coming out. And I just sat back and let her talk.
Yeah, Maghrib actually, almost Maghrib. Brother, 2 minutes left actually. Started Maghrib after 3 minutes. 7:50 exactly. We need advice for the parents. Number one, how to make your son, your daughter more close to your hearts. It's very important for my son, my daughter to be close to me without yelling, without arguing. Especially when they become youth, they argue a lot because psychology, emotionally, everything changes in your body when you become mature.
and it'll and again, advice is this, depending on your kid's age, right?
Oh,
Because
the age of the kid.
everything's different, and you can't talk to a 5-year-old the way you would talk to a 15-year-old.
Okay,
You can't talk to a 15-year-old the same way you would talk to a 25-year-old.
good idea. Give us this stages,
So
the age.
for me, when it's the younger's age,
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem that a lot of parents always run into is, how do I get my kids off of this and
Oh,
to have a conversation?
oh,
And what I've always found to work with the younger kids, maybe I want to say 14 and under,
yeah,
is playing sports with them, or doing something with them,
yeah.
right? Because I
Oh,
get subhanallah, man, I get a lot of information from the kids when we're outside playing soccer or we're doing something outside.
yeah.
So much information about the parents, because I ask the questions, right? How's your dad doing? Oh, good. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he's good. He's always working. Oh, okay. You know, and you start to see why they gravitate towards me, because they don't have that father figure in the house to kind of ask for advice.
Because yeah,
So then they would come back, hey brother, I got a question for you. I'm thinking about studying this. I'm thinking about doing this.
yeah. Me too.
And so you get
They
this,
come to me.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's like 15 and under, you play some sports with them, you talk with them, and that's when you're gonna get them off of this, because you cannot have a conversation with anybody if they're using this.
Yeah.
Right?
Same time.
Did you ever see somebody? You ever try having a conversation with somebody while they're doing this,
A lot.
and how frustrating it gets?
lot.
It's very
Most of
frustrating.
the kids.
Most of the kids, even sometimes the parents. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, right.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
so when you get it to the older group, the older age group, it's, to me, I've noticed, is going out and taking them to have coffee, or going them out and having like a bakery, or some type of getting their hands busy with something else, right? Figuring out a way to keep them busy and occupied, and then having that conversation with them, taking them out of that comfort zone of their bedroom, of their house, because they know if they don't like that conversation, what are they gonna do? They're
Yeah.
gonna go to their room, or they're gonna go outside, or they're gonna. So if you're taking them out of that comfort zone and having that small, and you start small, right? You have this little talks, you don't just go all out with the questions. You have to build something,
Yeah.
that if you haven't done this before, then you got to start small.
Start now, yeah.
Start
Good.
small, little by little, and then you'll start to see the conversations happening
Indeed.
easier
Yes.
and easier. And with me today, 20 minutes with this little girl, it was 6 minutes of this, and then once the comfort zone got built, it was okay. Now we can have a conversation,
Yeah.
right? And I was able to get answers. I was able to get some responses. Each kid is different.
Hold on. No, the stuff. What about youth yeah, after 18?
And that's what I was saying. You have
Yeah.
to figure out a way now.
The university now.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's
sometimes they come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hard to see the kids.
It's hard to see the kids. It's also, the phone conversations are tough, right? The phone conversations with our kids when they're that age, when they're in their 20s and like 25-year-olds, it's hard to have a conversation with them over the phone, because once they start getting uncomfortable, okay, Baba, I gotta go. Okay, Mama, I gotta go, and then they really.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Especially my kids, But no, the older one, he
Yeah.
likes to speak more.
Mhm.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends, and I think as a parent, we have to understand to kind of let them have the conversation, right?
Oh.
You steer them to the kind of conversation you want them to have, but you let them do most of the talking,
Yeah.
right?
I learned this from my wife actually with the kids, Ibrahim, just 2, 3 minutes and that's it. Yeah. To the point.
Straight to the point.
Yeah.
That's like my son. My son's straight to the point. How was school? Good. Boom. Halas. He's done. Conversation's over. So
Oh.
like I said, each kid is different, and each of you guys have to know what your kids are going through, whether it's their schooling, whether it's college, whether it's high school. We have to know what our kids are going through.
Yeah.
And then the number one thing is getting our kids away from these as much as possible. You get your kids away from these cell phones, their tablets.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And I tell the parents all the time, what sucks is you have to play with your kids. You have to talk to your kids. You have to put the phone down too.
Yeah, and exactly.
Right? You can't expect the kid to put their phone down.
And
if
you
have
have
your-
it, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, both of them, both parties.
Both parties have to put the phone down. And it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough because
Yeah.
we go into homes, and we see the husband and the wife and the kids are all sitting there like this,
Oh.
and we're looking at it like, what's going on here?
Yeah, just to fix their son.
Just to fix their son. But they don't want to get involved in fixing their son. They want to watch their
Yeah.
TikToks. It's
Brother, and very, very good to see with the brother Muhammad, mashallah. So this advice is very important advice here. May Allah bless our kids and guide them to the right path. And may Allah guide our parents as well.
Ameen.
Inshallah. Brother and sister, we can inshallah Maghrib now past 5 finish already started Maghrib. Maghrib بيقول المغرب العربي العرب and you know the Arab non-Arab they say المغرب غريب.
مغرب غريب.
المغرب صلاة المغرب is a stranger. يعني المغرب is fast and 1 hour دي صلاة العشاء. So inshallah we'll continue inshallah this topic more and more inshallah more detail.
Alhamdulillah, I got to come in. As I said to your cousin the other day, we got a Zoom room here. Where are the children?
Yeah.
We got a Zoom room here. Where are the parents? We're struggling to keep our Zoom room alive. We're international. YouTube, listen to me. We got what your children need right here.
Yes.
You want to get them off the phone for an hour? Send them to class.
Yeah.
I bet you those Christians get their children off their phones by sending them to a Bible study class.
Maybe
You know what I mean? So in order to do what you need to do, parents, teachers, adults, get together, set up some programs, and demand what you want your children to learn.
Absolutely.
Demand it.
maybe
And it
today
starts at
we'll try
home. It starts at home. The
100%.
parents raise their children, but they can't be afraid to raise their crazy children because children are crazy. They're
Yes.
not on this deen because they don't know it. They won't know until the parents instruct them to go there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like
I'm an old school, so you got to sit down, kid, and listen. Sit down, kid, and learn. Seriously, you got to just do it.
Right. Absolutely.
Jazakallah khair.
And in our family, we had quiet people talking, and we had screamers. And when the screamers scream, we really sit down and listen to them because we know we're getting ready to get killed.
You're right.
We were afraid of our parents. We were afraid of our uncles. You know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say?
absolutely.
Kids
Yeah.
got to have some fear because they're not adults yet. I just had to share that. Alhamdulillah.
Jazakallah khair. May Allah guide us right back, all of us, and our
Ameen.
Ameen.
Jazakumullah khair, sister brothers. Inshallah, next week we'll continue بإذن Maybe make it like 8 o'clock because Maghrib.
Okay.
Yeah, from 8 o'clock, inshallah, after Salat al-Maghrib for me and brother Ahmad and brother Muhammad will be same time. 8 o'clock after Salat al-Maghrib next week, inshallah, if Allah Azza wa give us a life. And your brother and sister, may Allah bless you all. Ameen. Jazakumullah khair for listening. And may Allah Azza wa guide us. Please, brother and sister, very important this topic. Share it to others and support Sunnah for us, inshallah. And Jazakumullah khair.